Are cinemas a relic of the past? I'm Tommy Bowyer from Movie Rewind, and without further ado, let's get into it. So there has been a lot of debate over the past few months on Instagram, Facebook, the internet more generally, about whether cinemas are going to survive the COVID pandemic. Now, of course, there's a lot of different viewpoints on this, whether this is a good thing, a bad thing, whether, it's actually going to happen, whether we will see cinemas close for good. Now, I'd just like to say this is my opinion based purely on my opinion, so do not take this video as pure fact. Of course, if you do have a different opinion to me, then that's fine. Please comment down below. I'd love to hear different people's views on this. This video's main purpose is just to try and start a discussion on whether cinemas are going to survive the COVID pandemic and what my opinion is on it. So then, let's get on with this little discussion and discuss whether cinemas are going to survive. Now, I used to go to the cinema probably at least 2 times a month. So I spent a lot of time there. So when the pandemic hit and lockdown happened, there was like this massive void because obviously I couldn't go to the cinema then. Now I filled that up with work. I work in retail, so obviously I worked a lot during the pandemic and during lockdown. However, you see increasingly on the internet and on the news that cinemas are struggling to stay afloat during this pandemic because, of course, they're not making a lot of money. They didn't make a lot of money last year because no one was really allowed to go to the cinemas when we were in lockdown. So a lot of them were starting to struggle financially. And of course, there was also a lot of people angry because no new films were being released. So everyone was a little annoyed that they weren't seeing films. So the companies and studios came up with a solution. They would release films on streaming services, so new releases on streaming services which would actually avoid cinemas and just be there to watch on a streaming service. Now, probably the biggest one that has done this is Warner Bros. They have decided to release films on HBO Max, and that has received a massive backlash from a lot of cinemas who have said, look, if you guys do this, if you release films on streaming services, then people will not want to go to the cinema anymore. You will destroy our businesses. And that's a very good point, because if someone can watch a new release in the comfort of their own home, a lot of people say, yes, I'm going to do that. I don't want to watch it in a cinema which is surrounded by loads of people talking and crunching popcorn and things like that. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather watch it on a streaming service at home. Then yes, cinemas are going to struggle a lot. Now, me personally, I like cinemas. There's something you get out of going to the cinema that you don't get at home at a streaming service. For one, you get the build-up. Now, one of the films I remember the most was when I went to see Avengers Infinity War with a couple of friends, and it was the anticipation, the build-up of standing outside with all of those people, collectively knowing that you were about to go and see a film which hardly anyone had seen and you were so looking forward to seeing. Now, that is something a cinema can offer you which a streaming service cannot. Now, in my opinion, do I think that cinemas are going to close as a result of this pandemic? No. I think they will suffer, and I think a lot of people will stay at home and watch streaming services, although I think that just enough people will go to a cinema for the experience more than anything else. So, fingers crossed, I hope that cinemas survive. I think they will. However, I do think they will lose a lot of business if studios continue down the path of using streaming services. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope that you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on whether cinemas are going to survive the COVID pandemic. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved quality content in the future. And please make sure to let me know your opinions on this issue. There's a lot of different opinions, so please make sure to let me know. I'd love to hear them. And this is only a starter video, really. I will be doing a follow-up to this video next week with my friend Matthew Charlton, where we will be discussing whether streaming services are better than cinemas or the the other way around. So I hope that you keep an eye out for that, because it's going to be a great video, and I will see you in another one. See ya!